So, Andy, can you please introduce yourself and your role and tell me what you do at the Sensor Group?
Yes. So I'm Andy Griffis. I'm the CEO of the Sensor Group here in Tucson, Arizona. We're about an 11 or 12-year-old company founded in 2009 to serve the interests primarily of the U.S. Navy. But what I do is I'm the CEO here in a small company that does technology. That means what I am is a business technologist. And that means further that I provide both strategic and technical leadership to my company. My background is electrical engineering, which in Tucson means, for me anyway, you work on imaging problems that involve electro-optics or electronic devices, digitizers, and computers, always computers.
All right, thank you. So tell me a little bit more what your company does, what your products are, and then also maybe associated with that, what markets they go into, what markets you touch.
Okay, so I mentioned it just a little bit in passing. So Sensor Group is very focused on the government sector and the U.S. Navy in particular. Not only the U.S. Navy, but mostly the U.S. Navy. So we focus primarily on the needs of the U.S. Navy for imaging solutions for problems that they encounter in mine countermeasures. Now, our part of those solutions is providing receiver technology. So a LiDAR has both a receiver and a transmitter. We're focused on the receiver technology for marine LiDAR systems that they use to keep our sailors safe and our sea lanes free of debris, of things that can blow up, and of course of anything enemies would place there to keep us from doing business that keeps us all fed and clothed and sheltered. So that's what we focus on primarily. And what that means for us is that we're building high-speed imaging digitizers. You would call it a camera. It doesn't quite look like a camera when we do it, but it's very similar. So a high-speed camera that is very sensitive to light and has wide dynamic range. Those are the kind of things we would build and include with LiDAR. And lately, we've been also actually developing complete LiDAR receiver technology, and we'll be doing some of that sort of thing in monolithic form over the next couple of years for the U.S. Navy. So that's what we do, and the markets that we enter in with the kind of things we do are obviously Navy markets. There are lots of subsectors of the U.S. Navy, but also there are other government customers that have similar needs to the Navy that we can help out with when it comes to embedded imaging, which is a piece of what we do that turns out to be pretty helpful for people who want to build things that have imaging as part of their function, including the IoT space that is now happening and going up commercially, right? It's a very busy space.
Right.
So those are the kind of things that we're able to touch. If we're doing a commercial play, we need a commercial product, we would typically license it or spin it out, as we did with our spin out Delta Thermal. And so we stay focused. That way, Sensor Group can stay focused on its core business, taking care of the U.S. Navy.
All right, great, thank you. So let me just kind of ask a little follow-up question on this. If you can quickly just say what LiDAR is. I'm not sure if this is by now already in everybody's common knowledge what it is. Radar, I think everybody knows what that is, but LiDAR may or may not be. Maybe with autonomous driving, it might have entered the mainstream, but maybe not quite yet.
Yes, thank you. So LiDAR, well, Lukas mentioned what a term you already surely know, and that's radar, which stands for what? It's radio, detection, and ranging. So in a radar, you have a radio signal, usually a pulse of radio frequency energy gets emitted from antenna and bounced off something, and you measure how long it takes for that signal to bounce off something else that you want to know how far it is. And by measuring how much time it took for that signal to bounce off that distant object, come back to your radio receiver, that round trip tells you how far away it is. You can do the math. So light detection and ranging is what LiDAR represents. It's an acronym for light detection and ranging. is just like radar, except you're using light. And almost always it's a laser light. And oftentimes you take the natural pulse formation process of a laser, um, which is stimulated emission device. If you want to be, if you're really technical about it, usually you let that pulse kind of do its work for you and form the pulse, which is a difference between that and a radar. But the game is the same otherwise. You're sending a pulse of energy out,
Great.
timing it,
Yeah.
yeah, to measure distance. So that's
Great.
a long
Thank
answer
you.
to a short question.
But thank you. I think this is now very clear. So let me switch a little bit gears and ask you what brought you and maybe what brought the company to Tucson, or maybe that's one and the same thing.
Yeah, the company was founded here by me after living here for almost 20 years. So I've been here just about 30 years, it will be this year. So
Wow.
um, we moved to Tucson. My wife and I moved to Tucson with our 1-year-old son in 92 to work with a couple of really smart guys who were at an aerospace company here in town. I had just finished graduate school, and I'd been working in microwave remote sensing, building, doing aperture synthesis in L-band, as it turns out. So I came here expecting to work in microwave remote sensing, do some more remote sensing work because they had a proposal they had written. We were going to exploit that and build some business. Um, However, when I got here, that program never materialized, and they happened to be working on something called LiDAR at the time, 30 years ago. And they said, well, Andy, the microwave stuff isn't going to happen. So you want to work on LiDAR? So I said, well, sure, I'll work on LiDAR. I mean, a photon's a photon, right? So what do I care? So I got involved in LiDAR at that time, and that was Navy airborne LiDAR. So um, that has stuck with me or stuck to me. I'm not sure which it is, but that's been a thread through my career here in Tucson, and I am not disappointed. I came to work with those two very smart guys. One went to found a company that I ended up working for, followed him there, and another one went down and became chief scientist at Raytheon. They were fantastic guys, and I'm not disappointed I came to Tucson. It has worked out really well.
Great. That is very nice, and I hope Tucson offers you. It seems Tucson offers you the right environment to be successful at what you do at the sensor group.
Yeah, Tucson historically, I mean, if you go back 10 or more years ago, very difficult place to start a business. As I was told, it's one plane ride too far from Silicon Valley. Um, but that has changed a lot. Tucson actually has a really solid venture community now, a good angel group that supports startups. The Startup Tucson organization is super helpful. I would say very well connected, growing, and robust environment for companies to be launched in Tucson, which is very different from the way it was when we moved here. So that's something that I didn't come here for that, but as it turned, if you have entrepreneurial instincts and want to start a business after you've been here, well, as I did, that's a really good thing. So if you're thinking about moving to Tucson, this is a good place to come and start a business. Yes.
Great. Wonderful. So now, how looking a little bit more into the future, how do you see what your company does affect the future, be it the future of Tucson, be it the future of the community in Tucson or the community at large?
Well, the way we anticipate being able to affect the future most directly is in the products we build for the Navy. I mean, those save lives and keep sea lanes clear. Those are things that everyone cares about. We all need to do international commerce, whether we think about it or not. And access to the sea is what the U.S. Navy is for. So keeping the sea lanes clear is a really big deal. And so we're very happy to be able to play a role in that and help enable the Navy to do its job, which is to keep us all in business.
Right.
So that's one piece of it. We enjoy building products that have the capacity to save lives. We do the same thing in the commercial realm. We spun out a company, Delta Thermal, that protects workers and helps energy companies save money as renewables become a bigger play. And that affects all of us who enjoy having frozen food in our freezers and not melted frozen food, melted food that was once frozen. Um, so we enjoy building those kind of products too that help people and protect things that we care about, most especially our families. As far as Tucson business, we're just happy to have a part in Tucson technology community and be able to contribute and share in some of the growth that we're all seeing here. So I don't have any outsized expectations for our impact within the community other than to play the part we can play and enjoy working with lots of the smart people that are here in Tucson. So
Great, thank you. So do you want to add anything that I might not have asked and that you would like to emphasize on our listeners to hear?
I don't think so. I think the emphasis that this is placing on, the International Day of Light and how it's just helping you as a listener think about all the different ways that light and light technologies impact and improve your life. I think that's all very good, and I hope that as you're exploring Tucson a little bit, you'll have a chance to see some of the things that happen in Tucson that are truly unique and pretty amazing. Not necessarily sensor group, but there are many things that are happening here in Tucson that contribute to light and the technology it is for improving our lives. So I think I hope you're able to see some of that and encourage you to explore and learn about Tucson.
Very true. Thank you, Andy.